Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Critscast. We have one more quarterfinal for you tonight. There is one space in the semi-finals of the ETF2L Highlander Nations Cup. This is the 7th edition. This has been going on for many, many years now, and we have two titans who played one of the earlier finals years and years ago, looking to duke it out in a best of three tonight. In one corner, we have Germany, who won the Highlander Nations Cup in its first edition. They won that first Nations Cup against their opponents tonight, France, who have been runners-up on two occasions, once to Germany and once to the USA in the following edition.
You know, this is probably the first real big heavyweight clash of the competition. We've had some good games so far, including when France played Czechia, of course.
We can start off by looking at the rosters, show you the players that will be playing tonight. Some names you will most likely recognize from time in ETF2L, UGC in the top divisions. We can take a look at the maps now. And Dave, again, there's apparently a little bit of drama as to the way things have happened.
For whatever reason, the Germany team didn't agree to pick the maps in a timely fashion, so a very kind of rarely implemented admin rule was implemented. The Germans actually missed out on a map pick because of it.
I mean, I think that's potentially quite huge because the French, they're getting essentially a double ban. They removed Gully Wash from it, so the only 5CP map in the pool, but they also remove Upward, so that's been removed. So Germany then picked Steel, Vigil picked by France, then we saw bans on Proplan and Product, and then we'll have Warmtick as the decider if we get to the third map. So potentially three different map types tonight. We got Attack Defense, Payload, and potentially King of the Hill. But do you see a clear favourite here tonight, or do you think this is going to go all the way best of three?
Could definitely go to a third map. I'd definitely give the Germans the edge. I think they're just a slightly stronger team all round, but it could be very, very close.
You can always follow us on Twitch and follow us on Twitter. Join our Discord where we post the information about when we're going live and all the various different events and matches we have for you to share. You can also support us by subscribing to YouTube and catching the VODs, or subscribing on Twitch. And we also have a Patreon if you want to support us financially. All of the money goes towards supporting the production and casting staff who bring you the games. You can also check out our merch.critscast.com. We'll have to see how it goes. If you're just joining us, this is the last quarter final of the ETF2L Highlander Nations Cup number 7. This is for a place in the semi-finals to face Russia. Germany are going to be in the blue, France in the red. First map will be everyone's favorite or most hated map, depending on which way you swing. It is CP Steel. Germany will be attacking first, trying to set a time. France will be defending, trying to beat that time. We have a best of 3 on this map, a best of 3 on Vigil as well, Dave, and then King of the Hill. Well, you know, that's first to 3, but we could be here for a long time tonight if this goes as close as we're expecting.
For sure, but then we are starting off on Steel. Steel is a map that can also be over very quickly. You often see 5-minute times, very quick rounds as well as the occasional slower round. But we'll have to see how the pace goes, because as you said, it could be a marathon.
It is kind of the quintessential Highlander map, isn't it, really? I mean, Payload is usually seen as the staple game mode for Highlander, but Steel, you need to know how to play the map, and this kind of differentiates between the players that know how to play, or the teams that know how to play the map, and the teams who have just started playing it for the Nations Cup. So we'll have to see if there's any players who are struggling. But I think everyone here has got plenty of Highlander pedigree. One of those players is CeeJaey, who gets a headshot onto Birdie for the first SVS of the game and the first kill of the game. But just letting A get capped here. Looks like Germany aren't going for any AE shenanigans here. Just looks like they're going to be running into these crit stickies on B. We'll have to see if they get any picks, because I think everyone expects them by now.
Yeah, well, you don't always expect them to be seen in White Room an awful lot, but Cubone has decided to use the bonk. I think he's probably seen them, maybe not. Murphy is peeking quite aggressively, does get taken down by loose cannon from Kale. It's actually quite useful on this very, very close quarters. You know, this map has a lot of choke points, a lot of places where you can use that knockback as well, the pit on the E point. but very useful up in this concrete area, just completely denying this doorway. And it's interesting to see the demo man up there. You often do see the heavy up in concrete, but having the demo man there as well makes it even more difficult to pressure.
Oh, the double dunk coming out of Cadis will take Murphy down for a second sequential kill there. Not very many players dying on the side of France. We saw Mezzo try to go in for a sap on the sentry, but no one else is really there for the support. I mean, when you're a spy, you kind of want to have someone else distracting or putting some damage down on that sentry while you're sapping, but at the moment it doesn't look like anyone from Germany really wants to go in, and now I think they're giving up on B. These Chris Dickies are still just chilling on B, but it does look like Germany want to go for this AE push, and France are very slow on the rotate here.
Yeah, big rotation, and as you say, very, very fast. They've actually used the Uber out onto the Pyro. They've got a lot of space in Banana, and the cap time is already coming in for Germany. Much better Uber is going to come out. France is going to be longer. It means they are able to take back full control of Wishbone. Actually using the conch, or some of the battalions, I think it is as well. Jumping forward, he's actually going to kill Mezzo in this DE connector. Going to get pressure down, kills Zamp as well. So a great bomb coming in from Scar, getting in behind, providing a lot of disruption and getting rid of the sentry. But while this is happening, we do see Germany, they are stacking themselves up on the scene point.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, Cuban's been getting this cap time. There's been a lot of great distractions from individual players, but they're not getting very many kills right now. The initial Uber was fantastic, but now you see that cap time degrading and not really much has been done for Germany. If that cap time goes down, they've essentially done nothing. Murphy and Tomato are the ones trying to hold this BC connector. T. Borden is down, no Pyro to control that connector, so maybe this is why Murphy's jumping in, but Scar jumps in from behind, gets the force onto Tomato. He pops without delay. The counter Uber comes in from France, and it's going to be better. They have to be careful that they get pushed into the pit, but again, that cap time has just gone down. There's pressure coming onto B now from the other side. This is going to be a bit of a sandwich play here. Tomato does go down. Elizal with the big backstab will give his team an Uber advantage, but France seem to have collapsed on B for the time being. They'll have to back up and defend C, but Germany finally making some progress there, but it took them a little bit of time.
Yeah, that was actually a really good play. When they Ubered back in through that connector area, obviously they got forced. It turned a lot of heads, which meant they were able to get a lot of space on B. They're now walking forward. Actually, Smith is trying to go for a sneaking play onto the medic. Tomato does eventually get cleaned up. They've actually fed quite a few players here, and CeeJaey is going to go down as well, so not as many players in this BEC connector as you would like for the French defence. Delhi is going to go down as well. Murphy catching them out somehow, and really the French team is completely in disarray at the moment.
It's really interesting because there was probably about 15 HP total on the point between two players when T. Borden was trying to defend the point. He got a couple of kills, but if he just thrown a flare over there and maybe hit someone, he could have stopped the B cap and France would have been able to regroup. But as it is, it does look like we're going to see the C cap go down for Germany, 4:23, so not the fastest we've seen, but you know they've brought back a little bit of time that they spent wasting trying to do for that the AE push, but now they're kind of swarming, and Delhi only on 30% here, 100% for Tomato. Germany can just get ready to push it. Cadis is trying to stop D. He's actually going to get sniped there by Birdie, and at the moment France playing so passive, it's going to be a clash of combos in the second.
Yeah, Germany were able to rotate through Death Corridor totally uncontested. There were enough spawns up. Actually, we see the spy Elizor coming in. He does get the force out just by picking up Murphy, the demo man. It's pretty much a solo Uber to Mezzo, just trying to gun it down. But that is a very healthy heavy and a sniper as well. They can just back up. They get a little bit of space for the heavy on Quintosh. He's trying to walk towards the point. Some cap time started to come in. They have dislodged most of the gamers out of the Haven area, but CeeJaey is just up there sniping down at the moment. Eventually gets cleaned up without taking too many further casualties. But yeah, France bleeding so many players. The cap time is coming in all the time, CeeJaey.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment... Oh, spy on the point! Oh, well, this all is actually going to get Mezzo. We might have wanted somebody different there, but... yeah, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. The respawn is very, very slow, and you see it is going to go down 550, so just getting under the 6-minute mark there. But Murphy was just killing everything. He was just putting out so much damage. Anyone who's coming forward was just throwing stickies at them. And that's what you want to do. I've always said that the explosive classes on this map are the most important just because you can just completely control these choke points. And Murphy did that amazingly well once Germany had control, but it took them a little bit of time to kind of get into gear there. It felt like they struggled on trying to push B for a while. So we'll have to see what France have in their entourage. What are they going to do? Because this is Germany's pick. But that doesn't mean that France aren't going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, and I think what really impressed me with Germany there in that offense was a lot of stuff did go wrong for them. They had quite a bad Uber on E at the last. A lot of their Ubers into the banana area when they were trying to cap B were also not very good. The French were definitely getting the better of those Uber trades. But they just rebounded from that. Murphy was able to come in off respawns, do a lot of work. They were able to pressure from different angles, and they caught France out quite a couple of times when they thought they had good trades.
Yeah, I mean, the trades on this map are so important because it really is two polar opposites. For those of you who don't know, the cap points change the spawn times for both teams. So if you are in control of the C point as the attacking team, you basically get instant respawns while the defending team gets 25-second respawns, which was why Germany was kind of going against level pegging there where they were trying to push B, because if you don't have control of B, then your respawns aren't that fast and the defenses aren't that slow. But as you cap more points, more stuff gets unlocked and really benefits the attacking, so it does turn into a snowball effect. But this first kind of push, either going for B or going for a flank here, and that's a big pick coming out of CeeJaey, taking down Murphy. 15 seconds in the respawn queue for him. The sap comes in from Elizal, and the sentry's down. Quintosh is down as well. This is big picks coming out of France.
Oh, he gets the force out with the heavy weapons. I don't know how a heavy weapons guy managed to sneak in fully through the flank and gets the force out, but somehow he's managed to pull it off, and now it's going to be a big Uber advantage for the French team. They're actually going to be able to take B without actually using this Uber. It looks like there's just too many casualties on the German side. They have posted up in the connector. They have Birdie peeking very aggressive. Actually, the medic Deli was peeking very briefly into that sightline. Could have been an absolute hero crack shot, but as it is now, it's settled down, but still a big advantage for France.
Yeah, it's huge. 50% for Tomato, but in terms of when France are going to be pushing, it's going to be very soon. Germany's still holding fairly close. Maybe they're going to be hoping on Rez here to do a lot of air blasting and just denying. Murphy is still being aggressive, just putting that damage out, making them think twice about pushing. Quintosh watching the cliff, but in comes this big jump in from Kalis. He gets some decent amount of damage down onto Tomato. Can he finish off the kill? He does with the pipe. There's a lot of kills going all over the place here. Both teams down 3. CeeJaey picks up Quintosh, so that cliff now is uncontested for Germany. France haven't made it super clinical. They may have wanted it to be a lot easier. They do lose Deli during all of that. Danny's going to pick up a couple of kills. Sorry, Scar picks up the kills, one of them onto Danny. And Germany have lost a lot of players, so France do get that third cap, but in losing their medic, it's equal Ubers again, Dave. And, Germany don't want to give up here. They keep fighting tooth and nail for every point.
It's a good collapse by Danny and Mezzo to get the medic out, but it's a really important fight now. Actually, the heavy gets knocked off onto the low ground. They do pick Smith up. Cubone has just been running around in the backline, still alive, trying to get some damage onto Borden, but will eventually go down to Scar. It looks like the C-cap has come in. They weren't quite able to block it on the German side, and they have fed a couple more players. The only saving grace for that moment is they do have a solid level 3 up with Zamp.
Yeah, this is, this may not be looking too good if you're a German fan, but with Walter Weiss there, with a sentry up in heaven, it watches the point, so that cap time is not going to be too easy. It's getting spammed, actually, by Scar right now. Has to wrangle it to keep alive, and the important thing is this combo in White Room. Murphy and Rez with the heals. Scar getting bopped around there. The reflex coming in, but Kalis will meanwhile get the kill onto Walter Weiss. That sentry gets taken down, but Mezzo coming with a huge pick takes down Deli. That is a drop. I think it's the first drop of the game, and that does mean Germany now have a great chance to clear out E point. France trying to stack the cap time here, trying to get as much as they can and try and spread their players out, make this Uber worthless, but they're dropping players. Tenno, Kalis, all going down. Schmidt-Shot is also going to get cleaned up by Cubone. So Germany in control, but still 2 minutes left on the clock, Dave. There's a decent amount of cap time on both D and E.
Yeah, Birdie picks up Borden in the connector area. They've got a gun. It's only level 1 up, and the sniper on the E-connector. Most of them are sat in this white room. They have pretty decent control on white room. The Germans, Murphy actually getting very, very aggressive, just trying to completely deny the entrance. He doesn't have too much support. Eventually, Tomato is going to walk up towards him. It's slightly dry. Slight advantage, in fact, for the French team. And Murphy is picked up by Elazar. That is a nice pick from him. So no demo man to force things going forward from a defensive point of view. You see Quintosh up hit the window. You normally see the blue sniper who is there, but he does get the force out very, very early. It's not the best Uber, as you can imagine, based on how early that force came out, and they haven't got any flags with it. They've rotated back to the point of just trying to stack cap time on E while the red Uber comes in, CeeJaey.
Yeah, it's a solo Uber onto res, which you might want a little bit of extra damage, but a Pyro Uber just holding that mouse one and air blasting people away. He's got total control of E again, gets a couple of kills, keeps people off the cap time. The cap time on D is fully degraded now, so France just have to go for E because it's 50 seconds left on the clock. It takes at least 40 for this cap to go down, but Murphy has something to say about that. He's in BC, he's very weak, but he's putting so much damage. Cuba is on a 6 kill streak right now, just cleaning up some players. France are finally coming in, but it might be too little, too late. It is equal Ubers. Delhi, though, gets backstabbed by Messi. He's got absolutely ham in the second half of this phase. It's just not going to be enough from France. Germany have enough players alive, and I think they're going to block it.
Mezzo is just pistoling people. He's fallen in the pit, but he's actually cleared the point with the help of his demo man Murphy, just sitting at the bottom of the pit, pistoling people with his revolver. He did get a frag onto Smith, which could have proved pretty pivotal, but it looks like the Germans have completely held on to this, and what was a very, very messy defensive round, they have managed to take, so it's now 1-0 to the Germans.
But I agree with what you said there. Like, Germany looking a little bit sloppy on the defense. That France could have, if they kept Delhi alive in a couple of moments there, they could have finished off that round. It did feel like the first couple of picks on B for France opened things up, and it kind of snowballed on from there. But respecting them, they did manage to claw their way back and gain some control. But we're on to the second round now. So this time around, France will be pushing first in the blue, and then Germany will be defending and then trying to beat that time just to switch things up. If Germany win this round, though, then they'll be taking their map. But this is their map choice. We'll be moving on to map 2. But I feel like France, I think after that first round, France will definitely be taking more momentum, more morale, more excitement out of that, because being on Germany's map pick, you'd expect them to be in total control, but France definitely looked like they were finding some cracks and working their way in there.
You'd hope so. You'd hope they'd keep their mental high. Feel that if they do the same kind of thing, they just need to make a couple of adjustments. If Mezzo's not backstabbing the medic every 2 seconds, that's obviously would be a big help for them. They'd keep their heels up and they'd be able to win some of those very messy DM fights that Germany were able to take in the last round.
Let's see how it goes. A, of course, is just going to be ignored. France just going to cap it out. I mean, there's not even a spy on A. Is Mezzo there? Is he watching? He's not. People don't even care about watching A anymore. Back in the day, people used to have a spy on the rock. You could just always predict where he was. But what's the point? The blue team's is gonna attack A. They're gonna cap A. There's nothing you can do about it. But Danny and Mezzo are there on the white room, just trying to give a little bit of spam, just see what's going on. They're checking. There's going to be some crit stickies. They're not going to be used. They're not going to be dead. Finally, do they not like T. Borden? They waited for 5 players to pass and then kill T. Borden just as he goes past. But France are kind of flanking it through BC.
Oh, Murphy somehow just absolutely nukes all of them as they all walk into the connect. They looked like a good sack wave, but somehow Murphy just had all his stickies ready and absolutely destroys them. That has to be a war crime.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to take for France, because that was one of the best things they did on B, was having that big flank come in, but it seems that they don't need it. They're just walking in really, really easily here. Scar jumps in. It is going to get the force into Tomato. He takes a rocket and will not survive another. Uses the Uber, backs off. They clean up a bunch of the French players here, but Delhi has that crucial 100% Uber. Can wait for those respawns. Danny on a 4k right now, Birdie on a 3k, so Germany are getting the kills, but they don't have that crucial Uber. They don't have a level 3 sentry either. It looks like they want to hold close here. And you know what, based on what we saw Murphy doing, fair play. He probably feels comfortable in taking the fight.
Yeah, it's just so we're on this point where actually both teams are rotating. They got a very, very early call here. You can see from the Germans that actually rotated before France are even on the E point, but it's actually a bait. It's a drop down play coming out of France. Players walking through the drop down pretty cleanly, only Quintosh able to call it. Uber comes out pretty early onto Kalis, walking forward, walking into a lot of players. Also crits coming in for Volta Vice as well. They're completely locked out of the B point at the moment, but Tomato is coming close to Uber, but they have lost a couple of players as well. Scar working a little bit of magic in the back. He might pick Murphy up as well here, which would be a big frag. Murphy sneaks his way out into the lower dungeon area. He's going to put some stickies on that grate, which is, a big, big nuisance as it will blast through them. But France have taken the B point and now navigating their way through the connector.
Walter Weiss, those crits you were talking about, he uses them to take down Kalis. So that's a pretty good trade, but wow, Birdie getting a couple of quick kills there. Schmidt and Shea both going down. That's a bit of a tongue twister there. But Germany's still holding this BC connector. They have the Uber, so they're quite happy. They're comfortable. Quintosh being the gamer to watch this cliff area. And where they are holding right now, I used to call it shelf, because you can watch B and you can watch E. So if anyone tries to go for some cap time on E, you can just send your demo around. And Danny on a 5k, Birdie on a 4k. These guys are staying alive and getting kills, but they are going to use their Uber. Tomato uses, I'm not sure why, maybe just going for the trade. T-Borden reflecting away Murphy's stickies. There is a level 3 sentry in BC Connector still. And Asix is there just trying to clear those stickies. Murphy wants to take the gun down, misses that final pipe crucially, and that's going to keep the sentry alive. So they have kind of control of BC, but it's what they do with it, right, Dave? They're not really getting any cap time right now.
Yeah, the whole idea of this is you get control of BC, then you can start applying pressure to E, getting the scale on the cap. You can see there's already a level 3 gun up from Zub, and in fact they're taking the combo out to C, but Delhi's running pretty much alone, I think following his heavy, but didn't have rest of support. Bomb comes in from Danny, easy frag for him. So Delhi is going to be down. Tomato's coming closer, but it looks like they're going to try and use it to block, but he doesn't quite have it, and Smithshot turns around the corner, guns him down. It is eventually blocked by Murphy, but they've lost so many players.
Quintosh! Oh, he does it! He was waiting on the balcony. He was getting so many kills, and I just thought, the rest of Germany collapsed there. Great play by Schmidt, but he just thinks, you know what, I'm going to die here. Let's do something with this. Just jumps down, guns down. Delhi there, and that's 2 quick deaths coming out of both medics. T-Border now getting some pressure onto Rez and Tomato. They have to back up. He will die for it, but France getting some good cap time on E now.
Yeah, some heavy weapon mid-fraggers coming in. Absolute chaos is just happening all over the place. Germany seem to have the better of it right now. Delhi having to run out, losing a lot of its players, but Danny is in a great flanking position, picks him out as he runs away, and suddenly you can see it's all slightly fallen apart for France. They've lost control connector, they don't have enough cap time on E to really pressure that. They didn't manage to get C cap in all of that. It was well blocked by the Germans, and you can see their relentless aggression again paying dividends.
Yeah, they've just been, 228 for the first 2 points. Tano trying to get a bit of cap time onto E, but it may well be fruitless because Birdie has just been absolutely turned on this round. There we go, gets a kill onto Scar. Just been popping heads left, right, and center gets Asix this time. And his sentry will not live for much longer. Shea is in the window right now and will take down Mezzo, but was probably aiming for Birdie. Just trying to get some down. France, really, they seem to be in two minds of what they want to do. Are they going to be pressuring E? Are they going to be pressuring C? Which way are they pushing from? Looks like they want to go in from White Room to try and hold down BC Connector here, but Germany have lost 4 players. Maybe this is the biggest chance they're going to get.
Yeah, you can see that the French have rotated. They've actually rotated their teleport over to the white room area, so they're going to be stuck pressuring from this area for the most part. Obviously, some people can respawn and walk up to C, particularly the Demo Man and Soldier. They can get there pretty fast, but most of the pressure is coming. A6 is actually going to flank, try and get some damage down onto Quintosh, and he will eventually go down. I think it was the detonator from Team Borden eventually. Decent cap time from France, but Mezzo has just run around in the backline, killing everyone, but especially Denny, and the push once more from the French has dissipated.
Yeah, that's the thing. If that all collapses there and Delhi gets out, then you think, okay, regroup with our respawns and try again. But they don't have that C point, which is pretty crucial in locking down some areas and giving you the faster spawns. Delhi though is back in action, but only at 35%. D'Amato at 100, and France got some decent cap time. Now Tenno, no! He misses his double jump and just falls into the pit. Scar does have that pain train on though, so he's going to get the ×2 cap. So France at the moment in control of E. The Uber is going to be used by D'Amato, and they're not going to achieve much out of it. They take down Schmidt, but Scar's just going to jump away into heaven. Tenno's going to have another crack at getting some cap time on this point, but he gets obliterated by those explosive stickies from Murphy. And once again, it's a pick class that takes down Delhi, and France back to the drawing board.
Yeah, Birdie has been a real nuisance. He hasn't been, sat with his combo in the connector like you would often see. Where we see Team Borden in a sneaky position. He's going to get onto the medic here. Will he take him out? He does take him out. I don't know how he quite wasn't seen, but the sneaky Team Borden comes in, pulls D'Amato out of there, and the French are going to have a healer advantage and an Uber advantage once more.
Yeah, 10 seconds for D'Amato. Danny's also down. He's been doing a lot of work on the flank, just taking down people while they're distracted by Murphy throwing in those bombs. He's on his 7k Murphy, but waiting for those plays. They're just going to come up now, but now Quintosh is down for another 10 seconds. So France having these opportunities. They have players down. Walter Weiss doing a sentry jump onto the E point. He might burn to death now. He will. Just some style points there, wow. I think. Oh no, Elizal's now going to bully Birdie. Is he going to get the kill? He does, and now France have got a bit of an opportunity.
Yeah, they are capping C. They've got the combo there. There is Quintosh and D'Amato, but they decided they don't want that fight. They're just going to regroup. They're going to have to wait for spawns here because so many players are down. A couple of spawns up now for Germans, and they're actually trying to move through Death Corridor, but I think they're well aware of it on the German side. Quintosh is going to get the force out super early. He will die for it, and D'Amato's gone down as well, so a lot of frags suddenly in France's favour. They don't have too much cap time yet, but there's not many players to deny them. Rez is running around in the main connector, eventually going to take the teleporter out as well, but there's a 6x cap coming up on E, and it's going to be still a few seconds until the spawns come up for Germany.
Yeah, they're going to get the spawns. They're going to have one crack at this. They have to go all at the same time, get themselves into the right position. There's a lot of cap time here. Mezzo's just trying to pistol, maybe pick someone off, but they may actually get the cap before any German makes it, and they do. They don't get there in time. Went through BC connector, but just weren't fast enough. But 9:26 is not the numbers that France want to see right now. That first round, fairly close. But this time, they are 4 minutes short of, Germany's pace in that first phase. So they won't be happy with that, will they, Dave?
Definitely not. I think it was just a case with France of they were going for, the 4 minute time, but they made a lot of ballsy rotations, a lot of ballsy attempts to make different plays, but obviously when it doesn't come off on steel, it can lose you a lot of time. They had a lot of opportunities where they got a lot of frags, they got a lot of cap time on both C and E at various times, but they weren't able to convert the caps, and they had to reset multiple times. So they did gamble to go for a really good time, but rather than playing in a more kind of structured flowcharty way and because they did gamble, it ended up not coming off, and they got a greater than 9 minute time.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think that's the biggest stumbling block of a lot of teams. A lot of teams know how to play this. They know, how the cap times change. They know how the doors change. They know the theory of going AE, the theory of going the regular route A, B, C, D, E. But one of the worst things, the most difficult things for a team to really get used to is when things go wrong that first time, to regroup, because you can be forgiven for thinking, oh, we'll just throw some bodies at the point and we'll win this fight. We'll keep going, because you get those faster spawns. But if the defending team play smartly, then it can be very, very difficult. So regrouping is very, very important. And we can see Kalis and Delhi now rotating through to the BC connector to join T Borden. It does look like Germany want to go for this AE push and try and get a very, very fast time. Tomato taking a decent bit of damage there. Murphy now trying to lock down the place with some damage from those stickies. Does get backstabbed though, and at the moment Germany kind of struggling to take control of this area.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to get serious cap time on E while the red team is sat in this connector, particularly the demo man and Pyro, and they can even move a gunner or a heavy if they want as well. At the moment it looks like the demo will be enough, but he's getting pressured. The Pyro T Borden wasn't quite in the position he would have wanted. I don't know if he didn't have ammo or something, but eventually they do repel it, and you can see absolutely no cap time coming in, and the force is going to come in on the B point. They've actually did a big rotation, but it's a much better Uber coming out of France, and just going to be a bit of a reset, CeeJaey.
Yeah, Danny does get the force there coming in from behind and gets a couple of good rockets onto Delhi just to make them use. Tomato though going down very, very weak here. Germany still fighting. They got their 3 down. They're weak. France pretty comfortable at the moment. Tomato goes down eventually. It's going to be to that cannonball. I'm not sure what he was doing while he was so weak in that area. And they have to regroup now because they've got no heals. France just letting people come into this absolute beast that is CeeJaey on a 5-kill streak right now, just popping some heads. And Germany backing up. It's only Quintosh really just trying to get some spam onto that sentry to be annoying. Mezzo gets caught out as well, and at the moment France chalking off some time here. It's nearly 3 minutes.
Yeah, there's not too much pressure coming in, and now we can see Germany, they're about to take out the gun with a nice bomb from Danny. He's bombing it again, he's going to get a force out of Delhi, and the Germans are so far back. Tomato doesn't have Uber, but he's in absolutely no threat at the moment. They have lost players, and we now see Soldier going forward, Scar, but he's walking into a gun ably built by Volta Weiss, and the B point is now mostly in the German control, just Smith being the main guy trying to shoot them down from this upper window area in the house, but suddenly they're trying to surge through this connector before the French are in position.
Yeah, they have control. It took them a little bit of time there, but as we said, that can be the first big stumbling block to try and deal with because of the camp time. But now Germany's starting to get some kills. Delhi goes down very, very weak. 6 HP. Will live. Will he gets back to the spawning time. But France just lose all of the rest of their players. Germany kind of in control right now.
Yeah, well, it's not a good Uber by any means from the Germans, but the French team, they eventually got found out. Kalis was stuck on the E point in an awkward position. Delhi almost got caught on C as well, and they very well adapted by the German flag. They killed Kalis, and now with no demo man, he's only just spawned up now. You can see how already there's so much pressure. Murphy does get picked up by board, and that's important that they have control of heaven against them. They've been able to disrupt the flow of cap time at the moment. There is a gun that they have to deal with. It's actually very, very aggressive. It does eventually go down, but while this has happened, what it has bought time for is that several players from Germany were able to rotate onto C, and they're suddenly getting the cap time. That this was the kind of thing that we saw the French team really fail to do.
Yeah, it's the old magician's ability, right? Misdirection. While you're fighting on one point, you have people capping on the other, and that's it. That's the C cap, which extends those bridges, enables the cap to everybody on the server. It gets some instant respawns. It makes the defending respawn pretty bad, and Delhi is going to be down for 15 seconds there. Kalis for 25. Scar and CeeJaey also going down. birdied there on a 3-kill streak. T. Borden also goes down. An absolute crunch here happening onto France. They've got 2 players left alive and they've got 2 points to defend, but simultaneous cav coming down. Denny is going to stop Asics from even attempting to block that D point with a cheeky little air shot there. I think it was an air shot. Yeah, it wasn't a wall shot, it was an air shot. This might be all over. France have one chance here. It's a similar situation to what we saw before, Dave. They have to get to the point now.
Yeah, so many players stacked on cap. It's a 6 times cap. There's not really any spawners. We see Scarf going to clear heaven. He's actually probably going to get onto the point as well, but does get pitted by Rez, who's just taking the heels on the point, capping it very, very easily, and we're going to see the Germans take the first map.
Yeah, that was really well played by Rez there. I mean, it's some people think it's simple. I'll play Pyro, hold mouse 1, press mouse 2 sometimes, but he did a really good job there of just completely owning that point. And yeah, Germany will take their map choice 2-0 fairly comfortably, I'd say. France were always kind of battling uphill there, so we'll be moving on to Vigil next. But we can take a look at some logs. I'm sure there's going to be someone's combined them already for us, as they always do, and we can take a look at the numbers.
It's very, very obvious the standout performance was from Murphy on this first map. By a distance, top damaging, by a distance, top fragging as well.
You would expect the class's demo soldier to do well, get a lot of damage, but like you said, by a distance, he's got 150 DPM, basically more than Kalis. But moving on to a bit more space, Dave, a little bit more room to breathe. I think the rest of the classes can potentially come into their own, and it's going to be Vigil. And it is a different change of pace. I mean, they are both stopwatch maps. They are both, kind of attack defend essentially, but it is a different sort of momentum. Steel has been around since the dawn of time. However, Vigil is relatively new, especially in Europe. It's only been about the past year or so that we've really played it regularly. It does look like Nevo is going to be joining to replace Scar. So it looks like Nevo is going to be playing Soldier. I did see Alien Smiley join the server for like a small minute and then left. So it looks like they're having a swap of the soldiers here for France. How close is this going to be? Is this going to be a best of 3 on Vigil? Are we going to see a 2-1? Is it going to be long times, short times? What are you expecting?
I'm expecting some pretty quick times, to be honest. If I had to wager, I'd probably say Germany would take it 2 rounds to 1.
Okay, we'll have to see. I mean, if Germany do that, then I said do. They'll be going through to the semi-finals to face off against Russia. This is the last quarterfinal to be played. There are 3 teams already in the semi-finals. The confirmed teams are England versus Poland in one side of the bracket, and then it will be Russia versus the winner of this. Finally starting Vigil now, as we've both readied up. Germany, 1 map to the good after taking Steel 2-0, but this is France's map pick, and if they take this map, then we'll be moving on to Pro Plant, but it is going to be a best of 3. We'll have attack, defend, attack, and then a golden cap if necessary. Dave's calling it 2-1 for Germany. We could have a 2-mapper here, but we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, France must have picked it for a reason. They must have some strats and thoughts that are going to, hopefully for them, take it through to a 3rd map.
Yeah, you assume that having picked it, it's probably got to be a map they're somewhat comfortable on. They fancy themselves a little bit. I don't think Germany will have too many fears coming into the map, so it should be a really, really good game. I think both teams will be comfortable, and we should see some really good stuff.
Yeah, it looks like Germany will be in the blue and France in the red. So Germany will be attacking first, trying to push the car all the way to last, and they'll be setting a time, and then France will be trying to beat that time, and whichever one of the sides wins will take a round, and we're moving on to the 2nd round, etc., etc. But Vigil is one of these weird maps for me, Dave, because I feel like Suicide Waves it's kind of difficult. You see Schmidt where he stood, just kind of watching this angle. He's fallen off the rock now, just as I say that, but it just kind of denies anyone really going for a suicide.
Yeah, I mean, you can sometimes get decent suicides. You usually only get maybe 1 pick. Even the gun, sometimes that can be a big pick, because it can, open yourself up to maybe going for a secondary kind of sack play once they've backed up onto the 2nd point. But at the moment we can see everyone on France is hiding. They lost their sniper early. He went for a cheeky shot from on top of the roof, but was counter-sniped pretty quickly. And Germany haven't had their slow down at all, but Tomatoes caught out in a slightly awkward position, having to play around drop down, just arrow his gamers. but perhaps they'll be looking to do an Uber trade soon.
Yeah, I mean, Kalis is still down for a few seconds, as is Nevo, so no splash damage coming out of France right now. And that's the thing with this map. If you lose your sniper, you don't really have control of that massive sightline. But France, sitting on top of the cliff, they've got a sentry, they've got all of their players in position. Germany, will they be going for suicides? Will they just go for a trade? It looks like they're just trying to flood the tunnel here, and they're just getting so much capital, and the cart's gone all the way through. Demeto's gone in with the rest of his team. Murphy trying to get some spam on that sentry from behind, but Quintosh, Rez, Demeto all getting finished off there. It's not a good Uber from Germany, and actually France hold on to it quite comfortably.
But I do see Cubone runs in at the top while everyone was distracted looking at the low ground. Runs round the side of the hill. I think the gun was wrangled or something. He runs straight into the gun past it and picks up Deli with, I think it's either a 2-shot or he's cleaning up someone else's damage. Takes Deli out and going to be a big healing advantage and a decent Uber advantage for France. Deli is up, he got a decent spawn, so they will be able to defend it, but Germany looking to take some aggression pretty shortly.
Yeah, Germany already get the cart basically on the point. But that heal advantage was huge. There was no players with a buff really, and Germany just took a few of their players in, won some fights, and now France are really struggling. 3 down, Shea is also down, Kalis is down. They have no span. T. Borden, who did so well denying that Uber before, is also down. So Demeto approaching that 100%. Germany will get the second cap. And at the moment, France kind of just trying to get into their groove here. 2 minutes and 20 odd seconds for the first 2 points is kind of fast, and they're going to have to want to get some time here to just beef up that target time for Germany.
Yeah, Germany rotated now through the flank area, through this locker room. They've taken all their players through, navigated very easily. Birdie getting some angles. And she's taken an Uber back through the tracks. It's mostly blasted away by Borden. He's put himself in a nice position as long as he continues to get flashes. Walking now into Quintosh, he does get arrowed and will melt him. A lot of players going down on the French side. It's important combo classes. It's only actually the engineer, the medic, and the spy up. So no way are they going to be able to defend this third point. And while the car was quite back for quite a while, they just don't have the classes. They're going to have to rotate back to last into the easy third cap for the Germans.
Yeah, about a minute to go from second to third. Germany just snowballing here, and France are going to be hoping that they've got the snow blower or something to stop this assault, because there's only 1 point left, and if they let it go at this rate, it's going to be a very, very fast time. But this last point does have the advantage of being pretty favoured towards the defenders as long as you don't die. I know that sounds dumb, but the respawns do favour the attackers just throwing bodies in. But as long as they can keep the important classes, Demo, Sniper, alive, Kalis and Shea going to be really important on this map. It's going to be really hard for Germany to get much done, but they come in here. The counter Uber comes in. And again, Rez is just trying to blast people away, as is T. Borden. They give themselves some space, and it's pretty much back to square one for both sides now, and maybe we're going to be seeing a little bit of a stalemate.
Maybe. You see good pressure, though, from the German side. Cubone eventually runs into Nevo and it does dissipate a little bit, but the car is moving very nicely. Just a solo spy capping it at the moment. T. Borden takes so much damage. That was a nuke. Oh my god.
The timing for Murphy to just walk in and throw the stickies down, but it was Danny jumping in the air, just a huge bomb, just AC 130, just getting so much damage, and they combined to completely destroy an absolute nuke. And there we go. Germany can just walk the cart in. 440, Dave, is a fairly fast time.
Very fast time, and funny thing as well, Nevo hit a really nice air shot onto Danny, after it came in, but the damage was already done. Absolute destruction and a blistering time, really. And they didn't. It was interesting. They just went for trade after trade after trade, and they weren't always the best trades, but they were able to cause disruption, on the flank or from different angles. Either during the Uber or during the trade or after the trade, and Germany were just able to keep the cart pushing, keep the cart moving with just relentless aggression, relentless trading, and France were not able to really set up any kind of defensive presence because of it.
Yeah, there's something to be said about just having that pure aggression because, like you said, even if the trades aren't the best, sometimes teams just aren't really set up for, being in a good position. You think they're just honest. Again, they're not having a time to think and set up. There was never really a moment of downtime throughout that entire onslaught. And there's actually a teleporter here from Wiethoofd on the shack and enabled Quintosh to get up there, and then he gets taken down very, very quickly. So maybe not the best teleporter, as there we go, Shay will take it down. I thought it was a cool little strat there, but maybe not as cool as I thought.
Yeah, Birdie, the sniper man, went down as well. So quite a lot of players here on Germany. They do obviously get a decent spawn time until that first point is capped, and it's at the moment it's absolutely nowhere near getting capped. Still very, very early in the round. But yeah, Germany they've lost so many players, they don't want to lose any more, so they're fully backed up to second already.
Yeah, I mean, Germany not wanting to lose that Uber, don't want to get forced or anything like that, so they're just backing up here. Rez and Murphy down though, and there we go, they do get forced.
Yeah, Murphy was staying really, really aggressive. We actually see counter Uber now coming out of France. Kayla's is raining down damage from on top of the shed. Birdie trying to go for a sneaky play, just peeking it alone on the tracks. Eventually does back up. We've seen Germany mostly locked out of this second. Looks like a couple of players going for something, but Birdie does get picked off. Danny goes down as well, going for something. And actually the medics in kind of perilous situation. Tomato having to run out of there. A soldier man very, very close to him, but he will get out of there with the able assistance of his scout and his speed.
Yeah, Germany at the moment, backs to the walls. They've got their respawns coming in now, but they've just been playing it very safe. They know they've got a good time, but at the moment, they've still got 3 minutes to go. France's pace is better at the moment. Nice air shot there, I think, by Neville onto Danny, but he dies regardless. And a bit of a kind of just trading of damage here. Both snipers are down. France maybe just waiting for that Uber, and they're just going to go in for the trade. They lose Delhi though. Oh my gosh, Cuban comes in. I think he was like 95% or something like that, so close. And finally Germany seeing themselves with an advantage for the first time, maybe a bit of chance to stabilize.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to use this Uber aggressively in order to push the cart back a little bit. Rez getting very, very aggressive, but he's actually completely ignoring the demo man walking forward into him. But that's because he gets stabbed by Mezzo, and Mezzo's he doesn't quite get the kill for that, but he was able to body block the medic enough, and Murphy just put stickies underneath him, and that's demo and medic down in tragic fashion for France, and it's just falling apart a little bit right now.
Yeah, it was looking so good. It looked like France just knew how to push. They're going for the wide angle now, but they do have a 50% Uber disad to think of. Trying to get some cap time. Schmidt is actually going underneath, just toying with Murphy, taking his attention elsewhere. Murphy's desperate for the kill, but can't quite get him. And they're just trying to get Shay into position here, maybe get something done. They actually take down the sentry gun, which is huge. So looks like Germany are going to be thinking twice. Birdie, 2 HP, actually. Has to dodge the stray bullets. And France are actually getting the cap time. They are going to get this third point, and just over a minute left on the clock. This is... they are going to clean up. Delhi will go down, but France, they've got respawns. Germany, they haven't won it yet.
Yeah, you can see Germany were staying in a long time. They're at 95% for ages. Oh, and Tomato goes so low, and NG-A6 running into him. He does just about sneak out of there. That could have been a really disaster for the Germans, but Tomato keeps himself alive, or the players around him keep him alive. But the car is moving. There's still 50 seconds left in this game. Tomato isn't at Uber yet. They've lost some of these flank players as well, so an opportunity now for France to go. As long as they go before Tomato gets this Uber, this is still definitely very, very possible.
It's definitely possible. It's going to go down to the wire here. 90% in the hands of Delhi. There is a level 3 sentry.
It's crits.
Is it going to come in? I'm just watching. There's a sap comes in onto the sentry, but no one else is coming for the timing. Birdie's hitting shots, takes down Schmidt. That's a 6k. They're waiting too long. It finally goes in. It does take down Tomato, actually. I think that was a drop. He was so close to Uber. But they have to get the card time as well, and they're just not doing both at the same time.
Yeah, they waited at the age for Kalis to respawn to try and use that crit screen and it was a great idea, but they just lost a couple too many players. They lost players, in that transition period when they were waiting for Kalis as well. They never really had 9 players up to go with that push, and it just didn't quite work. It was a very noble effort of, trying to match a pretty impressive time from the Germans, but France couldn't quite make it, and Germany takes the first round of this second map.
The culmination of this, like you said, every game's going to be a banger. We've got 4 teams are going to be in the semi-finals who have all managed to work their way through the groups, work their through the knockout stages. All of the teams are looking really good. It could go to anyone. I mean, obviously, we've got big favourites in Poland. We've got previous winners in Germany. We've got teams that have been playing really well in England and Russia. It could go either way. So we'll have to see what that happens and blah, 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 blah. So there's plenty of Highlander. If you're bored and you want to watch Highlander, then this is the best way to do it, because we're going to have a lot of it coming up. And of course, after the qualifiers, Dave, happens the actual season. That's where the meat of the action happens. So got all of that to look forward to. But yeah, we will be starting now. France in the blue. They'll be attacking first this time around. So, I mean, if they can set just as fast a time as they did before, that puts real pressure onto Germany.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously we've got this pause coming up where we know that it might stymie someone's momentum, but if you're talking about that last round, certainly you'd say the momentum had swung it a little bit back in France's favour. And as you say, if they do execute similarly to they did in that last round and set a kind of similar time, presuming that their last push had worked, then they'd got, say, a 5-minute time. When it's back on the German side, they have that kind of pressure of the clock on them. Could be a completely different game.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm going to be interested in seeing if we're going to have Delhi on the crits again, because they pulled that out, and the first kill is actually going towards CeeJaey, and this is what we saw happen before. Sniper on the defense on first point, struggling, or not struggling, but going down means your team will struggle because you don't have that control over that main channel where the players like to come down. And already you see that teleporter going down again, and Germany looking like they don't really want to be here for much longer.
Yeah, it seems every round of this, the sniper has just instantly died on the defense. It's meant that neither team has really put up any defense onto the cap zone. We're seeing the flank actually doing quite a lot of work here for the Germans. Q-Bone picking up the heavy, and then it was Danny picking up the engineer. So any aggression that the French wanted to get in early has been stopped a little bit by the flank, but at the moment they've just been able to roll this in very, very cleanly, pretty much optimal cart pushing, and they've got the heels back on this point, just getting their heavy and soldier in the side tunnel, looking to get aggression up the hill towards where this German combo is situated, very, very close.
I have to see, this second point hasn't been held for very long by either team, and to be fair, none of the points have been held for very long by either team, but this second point normally is where you see a lot of the time coming down. I feel like this flank is very open, the cart is watched very well by the sentries. You can see water-wise there, Q-Bone is going to go for the cleanup, and kind of just the pressure from Germany on this point, looking a lot more how you would usually see on Vigil. Just kind of getting aggressive now. Murphy just going forward, gets a face full of shotgun pellets from Asics. He will get cleaned up by Danny, who's there as the protector. But Murphy just trying to peek and get as much damage as he can. Just get around those corners and make sure that they don't have any free peeks from their sniper on their demo.
Yeah, I do like this from Murphy. I think this point, it's really kind of underestimated how much work he can do, as particularly a demo and a sniper, just getting aggressive once you've got those frags. Big bomb coming in from Nevo, circling back towards the medic, does force. That's a little bit of a pussy pop coming out of Tomato, I have to say. Soldier was, in the air pretty close to him, but the first thing was reflected, and we can see Delhi, it's pretty safe at the moment. He doesn't have as many players on his team as he would have liked. They do have a teleporter up, so yeah, team board on spawning pretty quickly, but Kalis gets caught out by Murphy, as we say, peeking again aggressively, so no demo man for this advantage push unless they wait another few seconds.
Quintosh getting so aggressive there, and now Murphy's going to take his place. They don't want this Uber to just be used onto them. They want to, use it, force it on their own terms, and France are waiting. They're waiting for the respawners. 100%. Oh, Birdie gets a clutch kill there onto CeeJaey, so no sniper. And also going to get Nevo as well. He's watching this tunnel. He's popping off here. He's getting chased. Can he get any more? No. And Germany just get completely wiped. I was watching Birdie get some snipes, but apparently France just walks in with their uber advantage and just completely destroys the German defense. Delhi's being chased there by Py-bun. Meza is also lurking, but he's going to stay alive, and it's going to be an advantage moving on to this third point.
Yeah, not a fan of the positioning from the German side there at all. They were far too close to the cart, far too far away from the sports. They could have played their shutter. Yeah, the Pyro Res did a decent job denying that Uber, but they played deep to the cart, and they really paid for it. They lost all their gamers, got pretty much completely wiped. Delhi having a big advantage, and we can see the French completely marauding on this third point. Murphy can't walk through, can't walk out of spawn. They're completely stuck back. Eventually he walks out, gets some damage down onto the French combo, who I've had to back up a little bit because the cart isn't quite there right yet, but they do have the Uber. It's going to come in now onto Kalis, gets blasted a little bit, but Tomato's completely caught out. The rest of the combo might go down as well. Birdie's gone down in a sniper 1v1. Rez is also feeding as well, just walks back into the combo, perhaps to just try and save his the rest of his team, but immediately France trying to take it to last CeeJaey.
Yeah, I mean, Walter Weiss goes down again. First it was Elizal who got the backstab. That's why there was no sentry on third. And now it's going to be CeeJaey getting the kill. So no sentry has been up for a while now. I'm not sure what the hold was there from Germany. Tomato was just not in any position. He had no avenue to back out. So France, again, having this uber advantage. It's only going to be Rez to really try and defend this. Birdie here gets a headshot to Schmidt. So that's going to be a little bit of cap time down. France, though, getting some picks. It's four down, and Uber advantage for France. If they just go in with the same Uber again, they're going to just slay.
Yeah, they're trying to juggle. If he's not taking too much damage, but T-Board is very much in his face right now. Tomato peeking out of the right side of spawn, but doesn't really have anyone to heal. Kalis is able to put damage down to it. They're having to come in now. Big Bomb coming in from Danny, but it's a complete wipe on the German side. It's going to be a 5:14 time for the France, pretty damn quick.
Not as fast as how we saw Germany perform in the first attacking phase of this map, but I think France have put out a statement here, and Germany going to be looking at this and thinking, okay, France seems to be really good at attacking, and we had a good attack before, but now we have to attack fast, and like I said, it's pressure. It's pressure. When you're attacking first, you can be like, okay, we'll attack and deal with the consequences later, but Germany have to deal with it now, and they are France going to have learned from their mistakes defending before?
Yeah, you have to wonder. Obviously, the Germans set a really great offensive time just by trading constantly pushing, constantly moving the carts. That French offense was much more structured, I think, than the German one was. They just they got themselves into position. They worked a force out, got an uber advantage, and then executed their uber advantage push. Killed the medic in the uber advantage on second, killed the medic in the uber advantage on third, and completely crushed them with the uber advantage on last as well. So very, very well structured play by the French side. You have to feel they only really need one trade to go really well. If the Germans do the same thing, and it's a different game.
Absolutely. Germany, though, losing some players early on, so not really getting much. We're going to see a cleaver kill, but the last time when Germany were attacking, they got a really early kill onto CeeJaey, and that just kind of ruined France's control over this first point. But Germany just kind of slowly but surely just throwing some spam down. Sentry does go down, actually. It's the bullets from Walter Weiss on that pistol will clean up that sentry. So they're going to have to back off onto second. We're going to see pressure onto Nevo and Tenno on the flank here, but Danny's not going to be able to take that 1v2. So France still holding in. They're just buying some time, but Kalis goes down to Birdie. That's a huge kill. No demo, and if Germany go now, if they accelerate into another gear, then this second point could follow quickly. They're 4 down, France.
Yeah, Schmidt got caught as well, getting chased down by Zamp in the tunnel, and now we can see, we did see Quick getting a lot of damage down from the side tunnel area, which Danny is going to lurk around. They haven't got a player watching it just yet. Danny decided to go for a spam rather than a jump. Ubers are going to come out. It's a lot of position now, but actually Team Warden's going to melt everyone. But there's no position at the moment for France. They're going to have to retake this pretty quickly. Tomato having to run back, I think, through tunnel. So actually France have been able to stabilise. They've got themselves back on the high ground, which is very, very important on this particular point. And we do see Murphy getting quite aggressive, CeeJaey.
Yeah, he's trying to poke and prod because that Uber just achieved nothing. T-Borden did a great job. He just puffed away Tomato. He was like, just get out of here. I don't want to deal with you right now. And then grilled everybody else. So Delhi does have that Uber advantage because, like you said, having to roll back through tunnel, it takes longer to heal. And CeeJaey is popping off right now. Takes down Birdie, takes down Murphy. Those are two huge classes for damage potential coming out of Germany. And if they're not there to get the picks, France are going to be sitting comfortable. 3 minutes left on the clock here. Tomato is still 20% behind. CeeJaey is getting more kills. He gets Danny this time. Nevo is also on a 4K. So at the moment, France feeling pretty happy on this second point, and Germany having to come in. They're dropping players. They dropped 2 players out of their Uber already.
Oh, but 2 players have also been dropped out of the French Uber. It's Kalos and Borden, the 2 players you do not want to drop on a defensive Uber. A big bomb coming in from Nevo might salvage it. Tenno going forward. And CeeJaey's just absolutely slaying everyone. Picks up Tomato, Birdie, and Murphy. CeeJaey absolutely soloing the German side, and the aggression that Germany tried to put forward off the couple of picks that they did get has completely faded.
We can talk about team play all day. We can talk about tactics. We can talk about, Uber exchanges. But if your sniper steps up and is on a 7K and takes out a third of the team, half the team, in a few seconds, then that's going to be really making a difference. But Birdie does get the better of CeeJaey this time around. Only 150 left on the clock, less than 2 minutes. I don't know if it's even possible now, Dave. I think at the moment Germany are just probably using this time to talk and say what went wrong.
Yeah, Birdie did pick up Delhi, so with no medic is now perhaps a bit more possible, but you can see there's only really Mezzo alone on the cart. Gonna hit Deadringer, gonna get saved by his Spicer, but they're well aware of where he is. A minute and a half. Uber does come in by the German side now, trying to get aggressive. They've actually got a ton of frags, but I think the clock is just far too much against them.
Yeah, I mean, even on ×3, I don't think the cart's going to go fast enough to get all the way to last. France just need to spam the cart and kind of contemplate their imminent victory on this round. And if they tie it all up, it's going to be really interesting to see how that third round goes. The momentum definitely in Germany's favour right now. Elisa was just going to take down Rez as he was trying to just gain some space. Germany's still pushing this cart, just throwing some bodies forward. This corner as well, all of the action happens and France are just hiding behind it. They don't want to get picked off. CeeJaey there is going to get another kill onto Cuba, and the Uber comes out. T-Borden just grilling, doing so much work on this half. And Germany falling apart. 25 seconds left on the clock, Dave. What happened there? What changed? We saw this blitz attack from Germany in the first round, and we saw the defense from France being a little bit shaky, but now France looking a lot more solid.
It seemed the big thing was the French, particularly the French flank, was deciding they didn't want to super commit while the German Uber train was coming in. You could see the players they sat back, they kept themselves alive and made sure they were alive for the post Uber. And a couple of times they got pushed off the high ground on that second point, but it was the flank that came in and retook that space. Whereas what had happened in the first round was the flank was always dying and they were always fighting that post-Uber situation. Down numbers, they changed that really, really well, and just really, really good adaptation by the French team, especially their flank.
If you called 2-1 for Germany, do you think Germany are going to come back and iron out their mistakes?
Yeah, I did call 2-1 for Germany, as you well remembered, so I'm going to stick probably with Germany. Certainly, it looks like the momentum has turned in France's favour.
So I have to see who's going to be attacking first, because looks like we are going live now, and it is going to be Germany as our production. Our amazing production Wiethoofd is quiet. You can't. Yeah, we can hear him giggling sometimes. I heard him giggling earlier when I saw a scout getting fisted in the corner there. I think he caught it on stream. He was having a little good time, but you guys don't get to hear him. But he's feeding us. He's feeding us little bits of information. So, but it's just me and Dave talking our glorious commentary, and it's going to be Germany attacking first, Dave. They want to set the time. They want to be the ones in control, because this is reminiscent of that first round.
Yeah, I mean, that's also the advantage you get when you do set that amazing fast time that they did in the first round. It means, going into this decided that they obviously were the ones that were able to pick which side they wanted, and obviously they want to go first. They want to replicate what we saw in that first round. And with the French, you have to feel, have they changed their mindset? Have they changed their tactics? And have they adapted? Or is it just a case of Germany need to get back in the groove?
We'll have to see. Will it be the start of a comeback for France, or will it be Germany sealing out this round? If Germany win this round, then they'll be going through to the semi-finals to play Russia. If France win this round, we'll be seeing a third map, and it'll be the third different map type of the evening. It'll be Koth Pro Plant. Warmtick maybe? I thought it was Pro Plant. It's Warmtick, so I don't know. I've been saying Pro Plant all evening. I just, you know what, Dave, you talk for a bit. I think I need a drink.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a King of the Hill map, whichever way, and different change of things. But that is obviously, imperative that France do win this round for that to come to pass. So at the moment, we're seeing actually it's going to be the German flank getting a lot of space in this longhouse area. They're going to pressure Team Borderline. It takes a lot of damage. Not as many buffs on the French team as they would have liked, but also Germany are quite in a position to go for a trade. Also, the car is quite a long way back as well, so they're just waiting for it to tick up, get all 9 players in position, and they're either going to go for a sack, or maybe they'll just keep beaming the car as we saw earlier in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, France playing it safe here, just keeping their medic alive, keeping the important players alive. Germany, first round, decided to just bust through tunnel, and I think France are going to be kind of wise to that this time. They are getting the car through this little exit now. It is being watched. Messer's got through undetected. Well, they're going to go for this Uber again. Murphy there with the sticks, takes down Azux and Nevo. He takes down the engineer. The sentry goes down for free. This is huge. Ellensor's on the cut now. We'll take Quintosh. But the counter, no, it's not even a counter Uber. It's going to be a counter Uber from Germany. They pop second. They're going to get some pressure onto the French players. Murphy is too far back, though, to really get much done on the retreating French players. This car isn't capped just yet. There still is...
Oh, he finds a rocket onto Delhi, but didn't find the first one. You see the French team trying to walk forward, trying to take space on the high ground. Hubert's actually very close to getting the cap. Is he going to get it? No, just about melted down by Borden before he can quite touch it. But it's in spike up range. Mezzo is looking. So many players have their eyes turned towards the car. Murphy putting some spam down as well. Quintos trying to make the most of that, but Elizabeth will pick him up. Danny coming in from the front now. And we see eventually just too many players go down for the French side. They aren't able to hold it. Just too much pressure off the sheer amount of cap time they're able to get.
Yeah, Delhi gets out alive. He gets out with his life and a 20% Uber advantage. So if Germany get a little bit too aggressive here, they could get punished for it. But at the moment, it does look like France are kind of reeling from those first 2 punches. Just going in. Danny will get taken down by Shea. France now trying to get a little bit aggressive. Kalis going forward with the Uber. D'Amato responds immediately. Going to try and control this. Pyros are not really in play in these Ubers. It's just all going to be about the damage and the follow-up. But Shea takes down Birdie, so no snipes from Germany for the time being. They're just trying to get this car time. Rez, they're just trying to get that spam out of the way. Proving really difficult. Kalis being extremely aggressive, just not allowing any time or space for Germany to get hold of this car. But they keep on trying.
Yeah, risky decision to go for these aggressive Uber trades, because if Tomato's too far back and doesn't get forced out of it, it could go disastrously for the French side. At the moment, it's going decently. They've lost a couple of players, but they are able to mostly clean up as they want. There's so many players suddenly gone down for Germany. They aren't really in a place to contest. Nicely blasted away Rez onto Smith there. And yeah, a third cap just come in. Tomato takes a ton of damage from Nevo floating around in the backlines, but will survive, and they're looking to transition into last pretty much immediately.
Yeah, Rez has been surgically attached to the cart for the first kind of half of this round, but he's pushing forward with the heals now, just trying to take space with Murphy. Quintosh again playing this heavy where you don't know where he's going to come from, you don't know where he's going to be. And Elazul was lurking there trying to get a kill, but Meza on a 4 kill streak. You can see the reflect rocket from Rez will take down Nevo as he goes in for the bomb there, tries to get something done. But it's going to be a nice dodge. But then we see Rez going down to reflect from T Borden. But a dodgeball going on here, and no one's dodging the rockets. We see Delhi trying to dance around on the point. France really under the cosh here. A lot of damage going down. Germany have got the cart really far forward. Murphy with the pipes will take down the sentry and the engineer. Essex is in the spawn queue for another 10 seconds, and Germany just keep on pushing.
Yeah, relentless pressure coming in. Kalis can't quite find an angle to deny this cart. Eventually, the flank, I think, Tenno especially, is going to run in and clean up a couple of players. We do see a pause coming in. Murphy is pretty much dead, I'm going to say. Stuck in this big door, so many players looking at him, so many players gunning for him. The best he could do is maybe trade for that scout.
I mean, T Borden does have his shotgun out. At that range, he should be able to kill Murphy. It's probably better for Murphy to die sooner rather than later, just so that he gets the faster respawn. If it does go to a third map, who do you feel like this favours?
I don't want to predict too hard for the third map just yet on this second map for sure, but I'd say obviously Germans what? Okay. It seems like they unpaused to let the gamer in. I think it was Zamp who died, and in that split second on the stream, we see CeeJaey manage to pick up Murphy with a body shot. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, my camera was inside the rocket. I was pretending to be a rocket. I don't know, just role playing a little bit while I was waiting, and that sound of the demo man dying scared me. So yeah, jump scares in TF2. Who knew? It's not even Halloween. But we do unpause now. This is real time, and no more craziness, no more waiting. Hopefully, no more pauses. As we do see the cleanup comes in from France here. They just maintain their control, get a sentry up, and they're just chilling. And now Germany have to think about what are they going to do.
Py-bun gets a lot of damage down onto Tenno, but can't quite clean that kill up. Danny gets picked up by CeeJaey, who got Murphy earlier as well. See decent pressure coming through the main area, but it's actually an Uber coming out from France. They've tried to completely rotate, pick off the Germans out of position. It's a nice rotation through the red room, but Tomato was really, really far back in main. They weren't able to find him, and this fear we had of them, trading aggressively and giving Tomato an Uber advantage situation, which we haven't really seen too much of in the game, has come to pass. It's now, for the first time, Germans with an Uber advantage.
Yeah, and they're going to use that Uber advantage. Murphy taking the meat of it. Danny jumps in. He's going to take down Kalis. Murphy's going to take down T Borden. As I punch my microphone in excitement, I'm sorry if that made a loud noise. We just see some crits coming out of Essex, but it's not going to be enough to take anyone down. Last ditch attempt by Nevo to block the cart. It's not going to be enough, and actually Germany did that without their engineer. Because it looked like Wiethoofd timed out from the server as they were making that push. So that explains the pause. It was a pause in between phases. So that's what I always like to see, because you don't want a player dropping, and really affecting the game. But Germany doing that with 8. And it's enough. It's enough for a 6-12 time, which is actually longer than what we've seen so far in the game. It felt faster. I don't know what you feel, Dave, but it felt like Germany had a fairly fast time, but I think France will be looking at this saying this is definitely beatable.
It's definitely beatable. I think, while it felt like Germans only really failed that one push, it definitely seems they'd kind of slowed down their whole gameplay. They were playing more with this kind of French style of, waiting around, making sure they had all their 9 players up before they go in for these aggressive pushes, rather than, as you said, just putting their foot on the gas 24/7 as they had done earlier, particularly in that first round. So we've seen a bit of an adaptation from the Germans just in, I think, just how the speed they're playing at. They've slowed it down a little bit in order to be a little bit more controlled, but I think it's also playing somewhat into France's favour.
Yeah, we'll have to see how France do on the attack because they have been extremely fast. Germany, like we say, they are one round away. If they win this round, if they hold for the next 6 minutes without that last point getting capped, they will be going through to the semi-finals of the ETF2L Nations Cup to face Russia. But France need to win this round to take it to a third map. And not much happening here. No snipers dying. We see a soldier die. We see an NG die. No one really cares about those on the first point. But CeeJaey is going to get Birdie down. And that's going to be a big pick. See Germany just running away to second. They don't want to be here at all without their sniper.
Yeah, I see Q-Bone as well. He managed on the flank from the German side. He got a couple of confetti kills and managed to run and get the sniper as well. He's now stuck behind though. Very quickly cleaned up by Nevo with the help of Tenno, so that's going to be no scout as well for this defense, which doesn't change how either team will really approach it, but potentially post Uber situation means you have a little bit less DM impact, a little bit less spy checking as well. We can see the sap is actually going in from Elazol, but he gets destroyed by Birdie with a nice close range headshot.
Birdie starting to pop off. We saw CeeJaey do well on the second point. If Birdie can do the same thing, he takes down CeeJaey. He's starting to pop some heads here. And again, Murphy just being really aggressive, just getting forward, just not allowing France any space. Nevo goes in. He gets in for the bomb now, lands one rocket onto Tomato and gets the force that quickly. It's going to be the flash onto Q-Bone to maybe chase. Can they get on any? Can they lay a finger on Deli? He is running far away and I don't think they're going to get it. So it's going to be an uber advantage for France. And again, we see the force coming out in the exactly same way as we did before, Dave.
Yeah, Contra being played in the tunnel at the moment. It's just CeeJaey's lagging super hard right now, just teleporting everywhere on the map. But it's going to be an uber advantage for France off that force that they got. And they're taking it through the side turrets onto Border and Kalis. And again, the Germany team, they're kind of caught out. They're all stuck on the cart once more. Border is actually in the spawn, going to cut everyone off, running in behind Tomato, gets a ton of damage and picks up the sniper. Tomato somehow runs away from Border, but he's still just roasting everyone. No one's turned round for him. He's going to get the engineer. He doesn't quite get Murphy, and somehow Tomato runs out of there, but he's completely alone right now, running back, eventually gets himself back up with Murphy, but somehow Tomato snakes out of there in all of that. I think more luck than judgment. But well done to him either way. But as it has happened, it's an easy second cap for the French in very good time, and they're already moving through the flank onto third.
Apparently I have a superpower. I can see T. Borden when other people can't, because he got behind and everyone's just like this, but there's a pirate behind. Anyone want to kill him? No? Just going to carry on? Okay. But equal Ubers, because the Tomatoes escaped there. We're going to see the exchange onto third. 3 minutes left on the clock here. France have a level 2 sentry watching sorry, it's a level 1 sentry. I got excited there. It's only level 1, don't worry. We see a couple of stabs coming in from Mezzo though. He's going to really open things up, as does Murphy and Danny. They get 2 kills apiece. One of them's on a sentry. The teleporter goes down as it's being carried by Asux, and that is really the breathing room that Germany needed there, because France were just looking to really just start tightening the screws there, really push forward. But 2.5 minutes left on the clock. There's still plenty of time to push, but Tomato with the uber advantage. Germany just kind of just relaxing and just trying to get back into their momentum now.
Yeah, they keep losing a couple of players there. Mezzo picking up Kalis does stop a lot of that damage output that can go onto this corner where the combos are often fighting. See the conch coming out. Danny is going to pick up Tenno underneath. And really, the French team, it seems they're not sure where they want to push, but every time they've walked into this main area, they've met an absolute meat grinder of just explosive damage coming down on them from all angles. They're taking it through the flank now. Borden doing an excellent job picking up Quintosh, who was very close coming in from the front, and then turning around perfect timing to pick up Mezzo. So a lot of players down now for the German side. France trying to get aggressive, just at a level 3 being wrangled. I think Uber is going to be forced out. They're going to have to force to block the Uber out, but Deli is sitting on the flank on a very low amount of HP, but still has 100%, and eventually the Uber's coming in, CeeJaey.
Yeah, they're going to use this Uber. They're going to be able to catch very many people. I mean, we see CeeJaey get the pick onto Murphy, but this Uber's not going to really achieve much. They could have potentially held that on for longer, but actually France is just walking into last already. Kalis throwing down some damage onto the spawn. And Birdie's going to get the kill onto Delhi. That could be huge. CeeJaey responds with a kill onto Rez. T. Borden is just grilling people. He's up to a 6k right now before he goes down. Only 4 players left alive for Germany. They've got long spawn times as well, Dave. France are just walking in.
Yeah, they've taken out that gun. That's very, very impactful. Kalis doing a good job making sure he got enough health to walk in. With no level 3 that's wrangled, it could be really good. And Smith's in a very difficult situation to dislodge as well. The Combos is getting all the picks they need. Desperate bomb coming in from Danny, pops a lot of people up, but can't knock them off the car. And the decisive round on this Vigil map is going to go France's favour. We're going to go to a third map.
France taking their map, and hey, when it gets to that final map in a best of 3, both teams are going to be looking at each other being like, neither of us picked this, neither of us banned this, so let's crack on and see what we can do. And it is going to be a King of the Hill map. Who that favours, I have no idea, but France coming from behind. Germany will run round away from winning this in an easy 2-0. France doing it the hard way, but they do win Vigil 2-1. I just looking at the logs and I saw Danny went 36 for 36. And in my head, I just thought, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And I thought that was hilarious. I just thought I'd share that with you. But yeah, I mean, T. Borden absolutely on another level. Like that, we talked in the second round about how he was kind of just being the win condition almost there for France, just playing around in the Ubers, but didn't realize how many kills, going 37 kills, 22 assists, and only 13 deaths. He dies less than anyone else other than the medics.
Seen the first couple of rounds, he was in a lot of the Ubers, but his team was kind of failing around him. But in the last round, just putting the team very much on his back. He was protecting his medic when he needed to, and then whenever his medic went down or wherever he saw the opportunity, he just let himself off the leash and just ran forward, scorched everyone. And they need to keep that momentum up for the third map.
Third map is going to be Warm Tick. It's going to be first to 3 rounds. It's going to be King of the Hill. So these guys have had to go from Steel, where they've got to have their brains on, 100% think mode. Then they've gone to Vigil, which, we were talking about earlier, maybe slightly newer for some of these players, not as much experience on it as potentially the other maps. And now they're going into the DM Fest, that is Warm Tick, with its Banana Hold, its Underpush, its Soldiers, its Cyber Sightlines. Whoever wins this will be going through to the semi-final. A lot of pressure on both of these teams. Do you have a call here, Dave?
You know what, CeeJaey? You always force me to make a prediction. I'm going to force you to make this one.
I'm saying 3-1 Germany. That's my call. Germany in the red, France in the blue. It is going to be first to 3. And France in the red, Germany in the blue. I was looking at the screen. That is actually Wiethoofd's fault that time. See, he's been trolling me. He's been trolling me all day. We're just seeing the demos playing slightly passive, and Nevo just jumping all the way behind. Just being a bit of annoyance. Cubone on the chase will take him down. Ellis also gets caught out trying to pass underneath. So 2 picks, but this is really weird. This is a very, very passive mid-fight from... Oh, okay. That's a reflect kill from T. Borden.
Yeah, I mean, you often see kind of a passive mid-fight, but Germany now feeling they have enough frags they can pressure forward. They're stacking all their players on the cap. It's only really the heavy they have to worry about. They've got the cap, but they've lost a lot of players for it, so it's going to be relatively easy, I think, for France to walk back on. As long as Borden, he's got to reflect so many things coming in his face. There was a pipe, there was a rocket, there was also a flare projectile as well. See an Uber train coming in, and it's actually A6 got himself in a nice position behind the enemy team. Absolute pandemonium happening on the point at the moment, but it looks like France will get the better of the Uber train, sit themselves back on point. But so much damage coming out. Murphy just spamming through the drop down, picks up the sniper, gets a ton of damage down to Delhi, and it looks like the French team is crumbling once more.
Yeah, there was so much damage. They could have got even more kills. There's just not any focus fire coming from Germany or any aggression. Now finally they're getting onto the point. Quintos is going to take a ton of damage. Schmidt in that window will just rain bullets down from on high. Mezzo is going to be there to try and deal with him. And Danny, they just gang up on him and they bully him. It's Mezzo who gets the kill in the end. Germany do get the cap and they're going to retreat. They swap the colours are confusing me, but Germany in control and. No banana holding behind the point. At the moment, I feel that Shay's been going down a lot to the pressure from Germany, and France has just been winning despite that.
Yeah, Mezzo picked up Shay. Again, we've seen Uber coming out from Tomato. Nice and early. Better Uber, definitely from the French side, although they have lost board on French, so it's not an ideal situation. Tomato's caught in a very awkward situation, but seems Kalis can't quite find the point. Eventually, he's barbecued by Red's big bomb coming in from Danny as well. The cap comes in. It's a very poor cap, though, from the French side. And we've seen Cupone absolutely taking advantage of the disarray on the French team. Runs in, picks up Delhi, and it's going to be a very easy cap for the Germans. That's honestly just a poor play, to be honest, from the French team.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want is to get the cap and then have it taken back very, very easily, and then you give the other team an Uber advantage. But the sacks are going to come in. Neither are actually getting a lot of decent spam on this high ground, but it's going to be the kills going for the assassin classes of Germany. Mezzo and Birdie getting kills. There's a lot of pressure going down. Tomato will use the Uber, maybe just to try and keep some players alive. I don't know. Kalis will go down. Delhi is escaping, but no, he's going to get sandwiched. He's going to get caught out there. T-Borden, the protector, his knight in shining armor will protect his medic. Danny comes in as well, but Tenno is going to be the one to keep an eye on his heal buddy there for the time being. But a minute left on the clock for Germany now. It's ticking over. France do have this ad, but they've not got much time to play with.
They are trying to move forward. If they can walk in here, they can take. Looks like they can take the cap without using. They've got a level 3 gun to deal with it, which is it's a bit of a nuisance. It means they aren't going to be able to take the uber aggressive if the opportunity presents itself. But the gun is getting slowly spammed down. Just Kalis putting pipe after pipe after pipe into it, but his peaks a little bit too long. Mezzo coming in, getting that frag, that opens things up. They're trying to set up a banana hold, but no demo, no scout for it, and immediately the Germans trying to walk in. They're close to Uber as well, so perhaps the French not going to be able to use advantage. It's going to be a trade soon, I imagine.
Yeah, and there we go. The Ubers come out. T-Borden just getting really aggressive. Actually gets a ton of damage onto Birdie. He will burn to death. And the focus of the German Uber was definitely on the things inside that banana. Mezzo getting a shank onto Shay. And let me say that 20 times quickly. But we do see Germany getting the cap back. They're trying to collapse on the retreating French players. Delhi is pretty far back, pretty comfortable, and because of that, Germany have fed a bunch of players. They're now in the banana trying to hold on to, but France have got Tenno getting some cap time, and it looked like they may just take this back very quickly.
Sam tried to do a sneaky play. Oh, Murphy is just in drop down, picks up the medic, wasn't aware of him, literally just alone in drop down, and finds him on the point. And yeah, no medic now for the French side. Germany, they've got themselves back in position. They've got the demo man Murphy on the point with the heals. Rez alongside him, just trying to put some pressure. They're going to have to try and break this banana hold. There is a wrangled gun, but not too much else. Just a little bit of spam coming down from the top right window as well. So they're actually going to go under CeeJaey.
Yeah, they're going for the under push. There's a lot of ground to make, and Schmidt is going to see it and probably call it, but the Uber doesn't have to be used very early. And then it's going to be going on to Q-Bone. Will he finish off Delhi? He's dancing. He's trying to stay alive. Nope, it's going to be the shank from Mezzo who gets the kill, and it's an absolute crushing Uber. 2 players left alive, T-Borden and Elazul. Only one surviving from that onslaught. Germany will recap. It's actually extremely close here. 20 seconds left for Germany, 36 for France. They have about one more push here. They need to get their players up and straight to the point. Germany don't have Uber, Dave. This is going to come down to DM.
It is, but also you've got better buffs are going to be on the German side. They've got all the position. They've got a level 1 gun as well, and the cap time's already needed to come in, and no one can get on the point. Quintos just sat himself beautifully on the corner, just guns everyone down. Denies the point, and Germany take the first round of Warm Tick.
Yeah, it was really well played. That's something that doesn't show up in the stats or the logs or anything like that. You know, the under push, just blocking people from the point. Germany taking the lead on this map. But it's been pretty close. Only a few seconds in it. And France winning the mid-fight will be feeling comfortable that they can come back into this and get a round on the board at least. But again, very passive mid-fights from both teams, just throwing flares across the point, trading the odd sticky. Tenno having a peek underneath, realizing that's not the way to go. Finally, we see some aggression. Danny jumping across the point. He's actually going to take down Schmidt, and there's a lot of kills going the way of Germany. Backstab from Mezzo onto CeeJaey. He's been absolutely bullying him this entire map. 4 down for France. Danny's in the air again, but that reflex is going to deny the second rocket from hitting Delhi. So close to getting some pressure onto France there, but they're still kind of staying in here, Dave. They're not fighting, but they're not backing out.
Yeah, I think Germany will be happy just to take the catwalk back without too much fighting happening. Neve takes a lot of damage either from a pipe or a reflect, but will live. But at the moment, it's, as you correctly point out, Mezzo is just finding CeeJaey every single time. Now he's going to try and find Delhi. Does find Delhi. So no medic now. Tomato went down as well. I think that was a double drop I'm hearing.
Yeah, CeeJaey went in and peeked onto Tomato and gets the dome, gets the headshot onto him. So both medics dropping within like half a second of each other. Absolutely clutch coming out of those two players. But it's going to go in the favour of France because those faster respawns. Germany losing too many players, will have to back off and fight another day. But basically equal Ubers here. They can just regroup and try and fight T-Borden, the furthest person forward, just throwing flares. And it takes a massive bullet to the face there, has to back off. And Nevo's going to trade with Mezzo. He'd probably take that.
Yeah, given he was about 1 HP, I think he'll be happy. I'm not super convinced by this French banana hold they've pulled out so far. The sats so far back with so many players. They're just relying on the wrangled gun, which is only level 1, not denying too much cap time, and the sniper, and you can see it's just the Fist of Steel, which has been unlocked once more, is able to just walk on the point with just taking very little damage, gets a cap very, very easily before the France team even is prepared to peek out of that banana.
Yeah, now Tenno's trying to get some camp time back. Mezzo is just going to be lurking on the point. He grabs Tenno, and now Germany get aggressive. They drop res from the Uber. It's going to be all down to Murphy, and he just doesn't have the space really to get close to the banana. The crit from Asics is going to take down Danny, but this is just carnage now. Both teams killing 4 aside. France, they look like they're going to recapture this.
Yeah, they do recapture it. Yeah, that was pretty good from Germany in that they got a lot of time off and then they got that cap for free and then were able to trade and create a lot of chaos, so time was ticking down while all that was happening. The gun was actually doing a lot of work for the French team. Danny goes in for a bomb, somehow lands in his own drop down and gets out of there very, very sneakily. Well played from him. And at the moment, again, it's a similar situation for Germany where they have to try and break open this banana hold. But you can see the French team, particularly Kalis, just wants to get a little bit more aggressive this time. A little bit more denial going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Germany getting picks right now, but they're just not in a position to actually, pressure anywhere. There's equal Ubers. You'd think that they may be positioning up, but they just want to get the Uber in. Quintos drops down, actually, gets a flash of that Uber. The sentry will go down. T-Borden using that mouse too as much as he can to just push people away. Quintos is still in and still surviving. He's getting so much damage and just being an absolute nuisance there. He will go down to that crit Frontier Justice from Asics, but now Germany want to get some cap time. Sentry's gone down, Kalis has gone down, CeeJaey goes down to airdrop from Birdie. That should be all it takes to get France out of there. We did see Mezzo was trying to get onto to Delhi and he gets the sword, Dave, so he has a bit of an advantage now over Tomato.
Yeah, just a slight advantage based on that. So he obviously wasn't building optimally while he was having to run out of there. So it's not going to be a huge advantage. Probably nothing they can really work with. But I think it was all Quintos opened that up. He made so much space for them, and it was well played by the combo following up. Big bomb coming in from Danny, but suddenly the frags are very much in the favour of France. If they actually did manage to use that Uber they got from the sword, get very aggressive. Tomato must have gone down. He must have been pretty close to Uber himself, but is cleaned up, and so many players down for Germany, and France doing a smart job of just getting cap time while they're having their players respawn on the faster spawns.
Yeah, just delaying it a little bit. T-Borden, actually, this is still being fought by Germany. T-Borden will go down. So they lose their Pyro. They're going to have to capture. In comes Danny. Huge bomb. Gets a ton of damage onto Kalis and Delhi, but they both don't go down. There was no follow-up there. Asics and CeeJaey both on 4 kill streaks, just sniping and wrangling from that banana. And Germany now not in the lead anymore. They don't have an uber advantage. They have to play this smartly because at the moment, France are in total control of this round. Oh, yeah. As I say that.
A6 is on an 8 kill streak. I think this has been the same sentry gun he's had up this the whole time, taking an age for the Germans to deal with it. It's buying his team so much time. You can see now Delhi is playing way too aggressive, doesn't have gamers with him. Eventually the Uber does come in onto T-Borden and the Soldier Nevo as well, but they've dropped a lot of players for it, lost a lot of gamers. But they do have a lot of cap time to show for it. Delhi won't quite get out of there, gunned down by Mezzo in Banana. So Germany are going to take control of the point, but they're going to have to hold on to it for a good 40 plus seconds.
Yeah, Germany have the Uber advantage. Delhi just respawning now. It's going to be close for them to even get an Uber. They're going to have to try and get him a play onto Tomato, but that fight was all won by Birdie. It was like him at a firing range. He was just popping heads. It got to about a 7 or an 8 kill streak. They got their sniper into a good position, and that's what worked out well for them. But Mezzo taking down Kalis is going to stop any sort of suicide wave coming in from him. 20 seconds left on the clock. France have to go now. They're not going to have an Uber in time. Schmitz gets taken down. Nevo gets reflected there by Rez. It's all looking very good for Germany right now, and they still haven't popped that Uber. Only 4 players left alive for France. They have to get onto the point, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Delhi with a nice shot onto Tenor. Oh, Q-Burn runs it in and gets Delhi as well. And now the Uber is coming out, but no cap time at all for the French team. So that's going to be a second round for Germany. They really pulled it back from a pretty dire looking position, just absolutely clutching it. And now we're into match point.
1 round away. Again, this is the second match point that Germany have had. Well, I guess you could say third if you're going to go by tennis terms, because they've been 1 round away before, but France came back. Will France come back this time? 1 round and Germany will win it and go through to the semi-finals. France have to win the next 3. A lot of pressure on them right now. And Quintosh is going to get the first kill onto Nevo there. And then Mezzo gets the kill onto CeeJaey, as he's been doing all map. Danny flies through the air and he's behind now. 3 kills for Germany. Kalis extremely weak, not even able to peek the point. Will get cleaned up, as does T-Borden. Germany walking forward. Danny down to 9 HP. He's not going to live. Gets cleaned up by Q-Bone. And that's going to be a German mid-fight win, keeping their medic alive. And they're just going back to Banana. They're just going to peel themselves up there, Dave, and just wait for France to come forward.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of times where the French team has lost a couple of players early on in these fights, and they've just waited around, behind their own container for an age, and the Germans haven't benefited from it. They haven't pressured forward. That time we did see Murphy getting forward aggressive. We'd actually Borden going for a sack play. It's actually Kalis is going to find so much damage. Tomato going down to a sliver of HP. Kalis fragging absolutely everyone. Gets the force out as well. Delhi in relative safety, I presume, all the way back in spawn with 50%. So I don't think it was beautifully timed by any means by the French side. Kalis just finding some kind of bomb, some kind of angle, just doing so much damage to get the force out.
Yeah. That was pretty much all down to Kalis there. They're going to get a couple of kills here, Germany, and Quintosh is still finding the point and takes down Kalis. So if France get the cap now, they've lost 4 players. 5 players who are on long spawns, 10 seconds, 16 seconds. These players aren't going to be in the fight for a long time. Birdie is going to take down CeeJaey as well. With 3 players alive, 100% Uber means nothing if you've not got the players to Uber on. Germany will take that back after only about 16, 17 seconds. Mezzo has just been taking down Schmidt and CeeJaey over and over again, just kind of controlling the high ground, not allowing them to have those sightlines or that heavy denial. Quintosh has been playing really aggressive on drop down, which seems to be catching France out. I'm expecting an Uber trade soon, but France dropping players again.
Yeah, A6 going down, and now they're trying to walk in towards. It's a much later Uber coming out of the German side. Murphy's going to get super aggressive onto Delhi, who's juking and jiving all over the place. Borden finds Mezzo. Fortunately, he would have otherwise been in a nice position to finish Delhi off, but he is now back in the action, putting his heels back into Kalis to towards this ramp, but so far Birdie has just been dominating this round, just getting pick after pick after pick, stopping any kind of aggression that the French want to do. Caleb's going down once more, and it's Murphy is going to be able to roam around on the point with his sniper as well. Birdie not quite finding the shots he would have wanted, but he is a real thorn in the side of the enemy team.
Yeah, CeeJaey, they're getting an opening pick onto Quintosh. Maybe the best that France can hope for right now. That's a lot of HP off of the field. Murphy just being the furthest one forward, just being aggressive on the point, just saying, hey, if you're going to come at me, I'm going to do a ton of damage to you. Nevo jumping through the air, gets a bit of damage down, but this sentry is watching the point as well, and this is kind of last-ditch effort time now. The Ubers are going to be coming in from France, but Demeter hasn't even had to use yet. T-Borden can't do much damage to that sentry. France are only 3 players alive. They've got 15 seconds left on the point. I don't think they're going to be able to do it in time. Germany just so aggressive. There is an Uber still in play as well, and I think that's going to be GG towards Germany. I don't think France can get there. Kayla's throwing some damage onto the point, but they've got no bodies getting any count time. It's going to be a 3-0 to Germany. They will take the third map. They will be winning this best of 3, and they will be going through to the semi-finals to play Russia.
France can be, happy with how they played throughout the whole tournament, but especially this game. But Germany just seem to have a slightly higher level when they're really turning it on, when they're on their game. They just have a little bit more than France were able to muster, so they do win it out, and they're worthy winners.
It looks like it's going to be Mezzo taking the top fragger of that final map with a nice, crisp, clean, exact 500 DPM going 23 to 16. Danny just behind him on 21, but the highest damage. Murphy has just been putting out colossal amounts of damage this game. Gets over 600 DPM there. Poland looking to win back-to-back, the first team since, I believe, Sweden to win back-to-back Nations Cups. If they do it, Russia looking to maybe get to the final and beat Poland, which they couldn't do last time around. Maybe they're looking for a bit of revenge. Germany, maybe proving that, they were overlooked compared to the other teams. We'll have to see. We will have all of the games for you on Critscast in the coming days. And as Dave said earlier, we also have some qualifiers for the new ETF2L Premiership season. If you want to see more from Critscast, we're not sure when these games are going to be happening, you can always follow us on Twitch and follow us on Twitter. Join our Discord where we post the information about when we're going live and all the various different events and matches we have for you to share. You can also support us by subscribing to YouTube and catching the VODs, or subscribing on Twitch. And we also have a Patreon if you want to support us financially. All of the money goes towards supporting the production and casting staff who bring you the games. You can also check out our merch.critscast.com, where we have a bunch of different things you can buy: hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, and the like. I've got nothing else to say. I've been CeeJaey, joined by Dave and Wiethoofd on the production. Thank you for watching the game, and have a great night.
Hi, old beaver! Away!